just don't think that you're gonna make a lot of money, especially not in the beginning. So you want to be a writer, buckle up because no one tells you about this. Writing seems magical from the outside. The idea of publishing a book, the creative flow, and the dream of maybe making a living out of your art one day. But the thing is, there are a lot of things that are hard when it comes to writing. And today I'm going to share 10 hard truths about being a writer. So let's start with number one. And that is that writing every day actually won't improve your writing as much as you think it does. Some of you may have heard people say that if you write regularly, you will become a better writer. And here's the thing, I've written for more than 700 days in a row right now, and I see that sometimes my writing improves, yes, but not only because I write every day. The thing is, I have to actually make an effort and study the craft of writing and, practice writing different things. Like, I usually have like themes. So at one point, I was practicing how to write a better dialogue. Then I read a lot of books, both on writing, but also a lot of literary books where I think that the dialogue is really good. And I studied it and tried to see like what kind of techniques do the authors use to make good dialogue. And also I looked at movie scripts and stuff like that, only to improve the way I write, because just writing every day, it won't make all the difference. Unfortunately, it's like working out. Like, even if you work out every day, you need to put on bigger weights to become stronger, or you need to push yourself harder to, run faster. You can't just do the same thing again and again and again. You need to practice to improve. Number two is that your first draft will be garbage. Almost every single time I sit down and write the first draft, it will be rubbish when I'm finished. And you know what? That's okay, because it's in the revision that all the magic happens. It's in the revision where I, make sure that the plot actually works, where I make sure that there are no cringe dialogue and that the, plot points are at the place where I want them to be. And even when I write nonfiction, like, because when I write nonfiction, I have a different way of planning my writing and stuff like that. But even then, like, the first draft, it's not very good. It's not something I would show to anyone until I've edited it at least once, probably more times. Because for me, at least, like, writing the first draft is almost telling myself the story, and I need to just get it out there and be done with it. And then after that, I can work on refining it and making and improving it and making it a lot better. And this is completely normal for almost every writer I know. This is the case. So if you're a new writer and you're like, what the fudge did I just write? That's okay. Completely normal. And you need to learn how to edit and become a better editor. Lesson number three is that rejection actually hurts a lot more than I thought it would. I was prepared for, getting rejected with some of my manuscripts, but some of the rejections, I guess, like, the hardest thing for me, it's not when you get the standard rejection letter. It was actually not getting an answer at all. It's like, does this, because here in Sweden, you send the manuscripts directly to publishers. We don't get an agent first. So I know it's a bit backwards from what you guys probably are used to. But the thing is, like, some of, of the publishers I haven't even heard back from, and it's been quite a while. And it says on the website that they should get back, after 3 months, but they haven't. And it's almost like they're afraid of saying no, but they don't want to say yes. So I guess, because, I know that they're following me on social media. So are you looking to see if I'm successful, and then you'll pick up my manuscript and say, yay, let's do it? Or what are you waiting for? I don't know. But just getting some of the rejections were really hard. I mean, it does hurt. It does hurt when someone says no. But I also got positive responses. And that I decided to say no to. So I guess it's vice versa for them. You will prepare yourself and be like, I'm not going to get sad when the rejection comes. I'm sorry to just spit it out there. You are going to get hurt when they say no, especially if it's your like dream publisher. But that does not mean that you should stop. But because usually, they already have a plan, they already know what they're looking for, and maybe the timing with you sending in your manuscript just wasn't right. So don't give up, keep on going, and talk to writer friends, because they probably knows what it feels like. And I'm here for you, and the rest of AuthorTube is here for you. It will be okay. I'm sure of it. Number 4 is that imposter syndrome, never really goes away. There are times when you don't have imposter syndrome, when I don't have imposter syndrome. But, every now and then it comes creeping back on you. And like, to me, it happened randomly at work the other day when a coworker came over to me and said, "Hey, I want to buy your book." And I felt like, wow, oh my God, she wants to read my book. And that, imposter syndrome really hit then, because everyone at work knows that I'm writing. But when someone actually asks for my book and wants to read it, it becomes a lot more, I feel so vulnerable. And I'm like, gosh, I haven't published any new books in so long. And am I really a writer? Am I really an author? All of those crazy thoughts keep, shows up when I least expected, I guess. And that made me feel like, oh my God, I want to write faster, want to publish faster, I want to move forward faster. I'm a very restless person as well. So I guess that is something I need to work on, especially when it comes to me getting imposter syndrome. But imposter syndrome, yeah, it's just something, I guess it comes to you whenever we're growing into, it can be a new role at work, it can be when we're growing as authors and writers, before we're comfortable in our new costume or new shoes or whatever the metaphor should be. That's when imposter syndrome hits, because we're not where we used to be, so we're not in a comfortable position anymore. We're like getting a little bit out of our comfort zone, which is good, because that means that you're growing. That means that I'm growing. And yeah, but it's still hard. And number 5 is that writing can be really, really lonely. It's countless hours in front of your laptop, just sitting there writing. It's you working through your story in your head again and again and again. And also, like, if you don't have a lot of writer friends around you, most people won't understand why you want to sit down and spend hours at end just almost in your own head, like creating stories and stuff. So that can be super lonely, which is why I think it's super important to connect with the writing community, whether it's online like this or whether it's finding other writers in your city. For me, this has really, really helped me not to feel as lonely, but also to, help me push through the rougher patches. Like when I don't feel as motivated or as inspired, that's when I turn to my writing friends and just, ask them how to get the boost. And usually, it's such a loving and open community that that really, really helps. And it's also so nice to just, each Saturday, if I want to, I can join my writing friends at a cafe in town and just sit down and write with them. And that's amazing. It's has helped me so much with just getting into flow and stuff like that. So if you feel lonely in your writing, because it can be super lonely, join your friends, find your community. Number 6 is that finding the perfect writing routine. That's the way to go if you want to have an author career. And this is funny because this is something I talk a lot about on this channel. I love productivity, I love atomic habits, I love everything like that. But the thing is, when it comes to having a writing routine, yeah, you need to create a routine that works for you. I have a routine, where I meditate, I write my morning pages, and then I write each and every day, almost each and every day before work, because that's when my brain is the clearest, and that's when I usually have time. I can get up earlier, but staying up later in the evening, for me, that doesn't work. You need to find what works for you, but there is no such thing as like the perfect routine. Life will happen and you will need to adapt and like change your writing routine as you go. This is something that I do. My routine looks a bit different in the summer and in the winter, just because I I live in Sweden. During the winter, the sun is barely out. It's super dark, and I have a lot less energy. During the summer, I'm a lot more energized. I'm outside more, and I can do things differently. So that's why I always have to, know myself and go with the flow a little bit. And if I have a ton of hard deadlines, then maybe I need to amp up my writing and write a lot more than I usually do. So this thing with having a perfect routine and waiting to find the perfect routine, don't do that. Just try and write whenever you can, as much as you can, and find what works for you. I think that's the most important thing here, because you have to hold yourself accountable. When you're 80 years old and thinking back on your life, will you regret? You probably won't. You will probably regret all the time you spent working overtime for someone else, but you probably won't regret those nights you spent building your dream and working on that manuscript that actually gave you something. So, think about what you want and try to create routines that work for you. But remember that the routine is not set in stone and has to be adapted over time. And harsh truth number 7 is that being a writer, you don't make that much money. I'm sorry, but if you think that, writing a book is the way to become rich or make a lot of money fast, it's not going to happen. For most people have to publish a bunch of books and also make sure to have some sort of other uh, side income to be able to live off their writing. Because just writing the books and getting royalties, you don't make that much money. And also, you have to put a lot of time into marketing yourself and building an author brand so that people can find you and find your books. And I think a lot of people underestimate this and think that, but I wrote the book, why isn't it selling? I see this all the time in like Facebook groups and stuff. And a lot of people wonder why their books aren't selling. Well, usually that's because they haven't made enough marketing and they haven't thought about like, because the thing is, you can't just write the book. You need to talk about it, you need to sell it, and you need to write, usually you need to write a lot more books. Because if I find an author where I really, really like their books or their book, I will see if they have other books that are similar and probably read them too. So keep on writing. And if you want to, if you want to quit your job and do writing full time, then you probably need to have some sort of other income streams. Like maybe you get monetized on YouTube, maybe you start doing freelance work, or I don't know, something. Know that Joanna Penn talks a lot about this in her nonfiction books. I will look up what the name of it is and put the link in the description box. But honestly, if that is the way you want to go, look at her up. Joanna Penn is amazing. She's an indie author, super inspiring. But yeah, just don't think that you're going to make a lot of money, especially not in the beginning. You need to put in a lot of hard work before writing starts paying off. Number 8 is that editing is honestly a lot harder than writing. So for me, writing the first draft, fairly easy, fairly fast. As I told you before, it's quite shit. So I need to do a lot of editing. But the thing is, like, editing is so hard because you have to do like the rough editing with all the plot points and making sure that the story is suspenseful enough and exciting enough, or that it has all the elements of a great romance or whatever genre you're writing in. But after that, you have to look at the character arcs, the dialogue, the style, the pacing, the concept, the theme, it's so much to think about that it's like, whoa. And even on the scene level, you have to look at each and every single scene to make sure that it's actually good enough. So I think that editing is so like almost underrated, because for me, like I never know when am I done editing, because there's always more to improve. Like even in my the book that I published, we can probably find things that needs improving in this one too. I don't know, but I'm sure I would find some if I would turn on my inner editor. So I think editing is so hard, and especially like knowing when the editing is done and when you should move on to the next step and maybe take in an external editor to look at it, or a proofreader or whatever. So yeah, if you have any great advice on books on editing, let me know. I have actually made a few videos on writing books that I think are really good, especially when it comes to like how to write scenes or how to edit and stuff like that. I will link them in the description box, so if you want to check them out, please do. But yeah, editing is so hard. Which part of the writing do you think is the hardest? Is it, coming up with ideas? Is it writing the first draft, or is it editing? Number 9 is that not everyone will support your writing dreams. And this one is something that I had to find out like the hard way myself, because people will not. I mean, in the beginning, they'll probably support you and cheer you on. At least they did for me. But then, like after years, when it comes to taking your dreams seriously, you have to, like, I have to make time to write. So, I work full time and I have a lot of other stuff going on, which means that if I prioritize my writing, I have to say no to a bunch of other things that I also want to be doing. Of course, I want to spend all weekend together with my friends, drinking mimosas and going shopping. But the thing is, I can't, because I want to be a writer. I want to be an author. I want to write books. And I want to have my health, which means I need to work out. I need to produce the podcast with my author friends, and I need to write, especially need to write, which means I need to say no to a lot of fun things sometimes. And that's when, some people supporting you, that's when they stop supporting you, because they want you to be your old self that you were when you were, I guess, also like basically at their level. And if they don't have big crazy dreams like you do, like I do, then maybe they won't understand, because you are growing and becoming a better version of yourself when you're following your dreams and when you're each and every time you're prioritizing your writing. But it's also like the road to success is usually quite lonely, especially from time to time. So that is why, like, this is something that you need to know, that it might be lonely and people may not support you because they don't understand. They don't understand the need to tell stories. They don't understand the drive to write. But I do, and a lot of other writers do. So find your community, find people that will support you, because it makes all the difference, especially when you go through really rough patches and you stop believing in yourself. That's when you need to have people who believe in you surrounding you. So this is so important. And in the end, when you stand there and you're super successful, those who didn't support you, they're probably gone from your life by then. The people who did support you are the people you want to keep in your life. Try to find the right people to surround yourself with. And number 10 is that you will want to quit. There will come a day when you feel like it's not worth it. It's not worth writing. It's not worth all the blood, sweat, and tears that it takes to produce a manuscript or to become successful. And I get it. I really, really do. I've been there. And this is usually like when you're on the precipice of actually achieving something. So please don't give up, and know that everyone feels like this. Even the big successful writers, they also feel this. So please, please don't give up. And remember that it's completely normal. As I said, I've been writing every day for more than 700 days now. I know what I'm talking about. And I've been a writer and an author for 10 plus years. So, there have been so many times when I've wanted to quit, and when I've quit for some time and haven't written for maybe 6 months. And it's, don't do it. Don't give up, because in the end, not giving up on yourself is probably the best thing you can do for yourself. So there you have it, the 10 harsh truths about being a writer. I hope that you like this video, and let me know in the comments what kind of struggles that you have and what you think is the hardest thing when it comes to being a writer. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments what you want me to talk more about on this channel. I'm doing this for me and for you. And if you find this video helpful, like the video, comment on it, or share it to a writer friend. That really, really helps the algorithm, and it helps me as a creator. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you soon. Bye.